And I said, come on over, you'll say.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Town of Portland podcast. And with us in the studio is our first selectman, Mr. Ryan Curley, on a sunshiny Monday. So, hi, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Dave. Happy spring.
Yes. Did you order the sunshine out there?
I guess so, because the sun is shining and it's a beautiful day.
Yes, it is. We'll take it. We'll take it. And I think we've had enough rain. My God, the water is still over the road up at the fairgrounds and so forth, and it's. I don't know if it shows sign of going down, but my God, it's been closed for almost a week now, huh?
Yeah. No, the water's back.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is the third flooding in the past, 6 months or so.
Well, this is the normal time it normally, with the spring fresh and so forth. But we've had it, my God, through the summer, my God.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Rain,
exactly.
for sure. So anyway, so what's happening? Tell us. You got a lot going on, man.
We are busy.
Yes.
Dave. There is a lot going on in Portland. So it's great. Thank you for having me to do an update. I'll go through everything, but we've got a lot of ground to cover today.
Great.
Certainly.
Let's get to it.
All right. Well, I guess we started talking about water. So
Sure.
so
Nice segue.
nice segue. We should talk about Job's Pond and
Okay.
what's going on out there with the residents over at Job's Pond. And so, as you know, as we just were talking about, we've had really an unprecedented amount of rainfall to hit, the Connecticut area, the Portland area, and Job's Pond has been experiencing levels now for months, I think.
Yes.
Going back to January. And so this has become more and more of a concern and really more of an emergency as of late. And so I first started getting calls or contacted from residents in mid to late March. So mid to late March of last month. And so, the concern was the water level continues to rise. Now, Job's Pond it's a unique feature in Portland. It's a kettle hole. And so there's been articles written about it, about not really knowing how deep, that pond is at the deepest points.
Yeah,
right?
fed by springs and, all kinds of stuff, happening.
And there's really no outlet. There's no dam.
Nope.
There's no other way for the water to get out. So not only do you have runoff coming in, but with the rising water tables, you also have that water that's really risen now.
It's got to go someplace.
Yeah. And so unfortunately, a lot of water has gone into the pond. And so the residents there have been very concerned about flooding, and basements are currently underwater, and the water level continues to rise. And so in late March, we started, contacting our state representatives, state resources agencies, as well as our federal representatives and agencies as well. And so we wanted to make sure everybody was aware of what's going on. And I wanted to give credit, because the neighbors out in Job's Pond, they've been very active, making sure that, and rightfully so, that the word gets out about what's going on.
Sure.
And so I know there was numerous conference calls and email chains in late March, and I think it was April 1st was the first site visit that I was there with our state representative, Christy Carpino, came out to take a look and really talk with the neighbors, listen to the concerns, and really see the water level. And it was high. And so I did brief the board at our April 3rd Board of Selectmen meeting. I informed them of what was going on at Job's Pond. And then we heard from, I think it was the Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, got us in contact with the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, there's a federal emergency watershed protection program that is available. And so on April 4th, so on Thursday, April 4th, I applied to that on behalf of the town of Portland for Job's Pond, requesting federal assistance, declaring that an emergency. Mm-hmm. And so we're currently working our way through that process. It's a program. Now, for those of you in Portland who have been here a long time, yourself included, Dave, you may recall we've had this before.
Yes, we have.
In 1984, the same situation happened. And back then, we went through the exact same process. In fact, it's the same program, which I couldn't believe still exists today. But we're applying for the same program that we did get admitted into back in 1984. So we're working through that process now. And so what happened last week, now I think I've been out to the pond now. I think I've been out 3 times. And last week we had the state conservation engineer with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Natural Resources Conservation Service. They conducted a field review last Thursday. That was April 11th.
Okay.
And this is part of the process. Mm-hmm. And so they conducted an initial field review last week. There was a number of people there, as well as our regional coordinator from Demas was there as well. I mean, honestly, I do have to say that all the state, federal agencies have been really helpful. Senator Murphy's office, Senator Blumenthal's office, Congressman Larson's office, State Representative Carpino, State Senator Norm Needleman. I mean, you name it, everybody's been helping. DPH has been on calls. I know DEEP has been on calls about this, and like I said, Demas as well. And so the next step is we were notified that conservation engineer will be back with his team on April 23rd, and they will be doing a damage site reconnaissance at Job's Pond, and they're looking at things like pond surface elevation, structure of the first floor elevation, basement elevation, and then they're looking at the YMCA camp infrastructure as well.
Okay.
And so these things, unfortunately, whenever you deal with, federal and state level, sometimes they take time. They don't, even when it's an emergency, things don't happen just overnight. And so unfortunately for these residents, as the water level begins to rise, it's definitely concerning.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah. And so the town is doing everything that we can. I've been in regular communication with the residents of Job's Pond, and I've talked with them and making sure that if anyone's displaced or there's any problems, please get in touch with my office and we will find assistance on that. But we also had Eversource come out to check the poles because some of the telephone poles are now flooded and underwater as well. So good news on that, where Eversource said that's okay. So, but we're looking at everything. I mean, it's a big deal. And what we did in 1984 was they actually pumped out the pond.
Right.
And they had very large pumps into the Connecticut River. And so I actually went through the old Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from 1984, and honestly, it was an ordeal back then.
Yeah. They ran the piping up the railroad tracks and so forth to quite a ways up, and then it got into an outlet and out into the river.
They actually used prisoners to lay the pipe back in 1984. And apparently I was told that we're not allowed to use prisoners for that type of work today. So we're going to have to figure out another way if we are able to pump the water out, if we can get that support. But, we're doing everything that we can. Like I said, it just takes time. So the Natural Resources Conservation Service, they have to submit their damage survey report to their nation headquarters by June 3rd, 2024. That's the latest. We're hoping that it's earlier. And once they get that report, it's typically within a few weeks to 3 months before a determination is made on whether we'll receive assistance or not. So, it takes time, but we're doing everything that we can. And like I said, we're in regular communication with our state and federal partners on this.
Well, things are moving, so like everything, bureaucracy takes time.
A little bit. So in the meantime, no more rain, please.
Yes, we've had our fill.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. So I'll touch on, that's just one thing. We have a lot going on as well. So I'll touch upon Brainerd Place. I guess we'll talk a little bit about Brainerd Place, because I know that's on a lot of people's minds in the town of Portland. And I got to say, we had a public hearing just over a week ago, and it was incredible to see the amount of residents that turned up in the Portland High School auditorium, as well as on Zoom, and also streaming the meeting on YouTube Live. It's great. We don't really get that type of public engagement, and so honestly, it's really nice to see people in town caring about what happens in town, wanting to know, what is going on and looking to make their voice heard and also find out information. So
Sure.
unfortunately, that public hearing did not go as well as I think everybody had expected. It kind of took a turn with the developer actually withdrawing both of the applications that he had submitted. And there was a little bit of a misunderstanding between the developer and then the town attorney as far as what they could and couldn't say.
Yep.
Because there's two applications that we're talking about here. There's one where there's a text change that's being requested to modify the planning and zoning regulations. So that's the first thing that has to happen
Yep.
before any changes to the actual project could even be approved. And so there was a misunderstanding of what the developer could and couldn't talk about as part of that text change amendment that he was requesting.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that has been resolved. I know Dan Beret, our town planner, had conference calls last week with the town attorney and his attorney, and I think everything's kind of been ironed out. So the developer actually resubmitted that application on Friday of last week. So that's going to be going through the planning and zoning process again.
Okay.
So I'm sure there'll be lawn signs and engagement. And honestly, I think it's great. So we're going to make sure that meeting, when that public hearing is held, is in the high school auditorium again.
Yes.
And so one of the things that we wanted to do, though, is make sure that the town is aware, not just in the public hearing process, but the town is aware or able to understand what the developer is requesting and why the developer is requesting it. So the Economic Development Commission has invited the developer to actually give a presentation at an EDC meeting. Mm-hmm. And so I think this would be a really nice opportunity for the town, the public, to be able to attend a meeting without any decisions being made, without any action being taken, but actually just to be able to listen to what the changes are,
Yeah.
and then why they're being made. And then also offer a context where there can be public comment, questions can be asked of the developer, and people can just find out information without all the tension that comes with a planning and zoning meeting, especially for something like this.
Sure.
It's obviously a hot button topic. I totally get that. For the
Yes.
town. And we want to make sure that the residents in Portland are informed about this.
Sure.
So that meeting, we're still working on confirming the dates, but I believe it's going to be, let me just check my sheet here. I believe we're talking Tuesday, April 30th. So don't hold me to that yet. That's the date we have penciled in. Likely at 7 p.m. Again, that would be in the Portland High School auditorium.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure we're giving people the opportunity to come and listen and also comment. But this would be separate from that public hearing process. That will be at a separate date.
Sure.
So,
Oh, that's good.
yeah. So more to come on that. I will let everyone know as soon as that date gets finalized. But it's it's back again. So it wasn't gone for too long, and so there'll be more to come on that. All right. So I guess I'll go on to some positive news. We have a nice event coming up next Tuesday.
Yep.
And next Tuesday, April 23rd at 3:15 p.m. is the official ribbon cutting of our new Portland High School athletic track.
There we go.
And I know I'm really excited to see that ribbon cutting. It's going to be coinciding with Portland High School's first athletic meet of the
Track meet,
season.
yes.
The first track meet of the season.
Home meet that we were able to hold on our own turf.
The first home meet in years. Will be next Tuesday,
Nice.
3:15 at Portland High School. And I know there's a lot of seniors that I'm sure just super excited. And we're going to have, I think what's going to happen is the seniors are going to do a lap
Yep.
around the track, and we're going to have the red ribbon,
Okay.
they're going to break the ribbon as they go through.
There we go.
And so we're really excited about that. Everyone's welcome to attend. There is a rain date of Wednesday, April 24th at 3:15 p.m.
Well, that's great because I use the track every morning. I go up and do my mile and so forth, and it's huge. It's nice. It's great.
I'm glad we got that fixed. We don't want you falling down.
No.
Got to keep you upright, dude.
Exactly.
So, all right, we'll move on to our annual budget. It's it's a little weird with everything going on. The budget, I feel like this year is kind of
Taking
taken
second space.
yeah, a little bit, but it's obviously it's just as important as ever.
Yeah.
And so this year, I know the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education worked really hard on the budget. I'm very proud that the Board of Selectmen was able to keep the general government side of the budget. The mill rate increase was flat this year, so that was nice. Unfortunately, the Board of Education did have a significant amount of expenses this year, which did get passed on through. I think it's a 1.03 increase to the mill rate.
Yep.
That is entirely. It is on the Board of Education side. I know that it's been difficult. If you look at other Board of Educations around the state, I think there's a lot of boards experiencing similar type of problems. A lot of the federal funding has been exhausted, the COVID relief funding, the ESSER funds, and so it's been a difficult year for the Board of Education. But the Board of Selectmen approved the budget at our meeting on April 3rd, and we sent that. So every year we go through the same budget process, where the Board of Selectmen finalizes a budget at deliberations, and then they send that to our annual town meeting. Our annual town meeting this year is going to be on Monday, May 6th, and that's at Portland High School, 6:30 on Monday, May 6th. And then our budget referendum is the following Monday. It's always on a Monday.
Yep.
And it's Monday, May 13th. And so just like all the other elections, polls will be open from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. At Portland High School, 93 High Street. And yeah, please come out and vote. Everybody who is a registered voter in town, as well as a property owner. If you own property of $1,000 or more assessed at, you are able to vote in the budget referendum. So please come out and vote and make your voice heard on that.
Now, is there going to be absentee voting available too?
There is
beforehand?
absentee. I'm glad you mentioned that. Absentee ballots are available beginning on April 24th.
Okay.
So you can go to the town clerk's office and get an absentee ballot. However, there is no early voting.
That's
There's
the
no
other thing I
early
was going to
voting.
ask too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thankfully, that was one of the items that the state legislature left off the early voting bill, was that there would be no early voting with referendums. So I think that saves us a lot of manpower, because it's not cheap running those early voting.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's see. What else do I have here? Oh, our school project, or our big school consolidation project. So you may recall the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Education, we've been talking about our aging school facilities for a number of years now. We had a committee that explored, what would happen, what are potential options that we could do with the schools. And then the Board of Selectmen conducted a survey as well, where we asked the town. Every registered voter in town received a postcard in the mail with a QR code, a link to a survey.
Yep.
We went through this entire process, and we explained to the voters and everybody who took the survey what the options were and estimated costs with those options. And ultimately, the number one pick with that survey was, I think it was 56% of the respondents preferred an option where we closed and repurposed Gildersleeve School, Brownstone Intermediate School, and then renovated to new and expanded Valley View. And that would create a Valley View school that would be a pre-K to a grade 5. And the 6th grade, which are currently at the Brownstone Intermediate School, they would be moved up to the Portland Middle School on High Street.
There we go.
So that was the preferred choice. And so the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education, we talked about all that. Number 2 is capital improvements. Number 2 is fix up all the schools and status quo. Stay as is. And so there's some benefits that come where you consolidate schools. You can also consolidate. You don't need as many teachers, and really it's staff. You don't need as many principals. You don't need as many administrators, gym teachers, nurses, that sort of custodians even. So Dr. Britton, our superintendent, has done some projections on estimated cost savings that would come with that. And also we went back to the architect firm that we've been using, Fryer Architecture, and they've been coming up with renderings and drafts of what a pre-K to grade 5 Valley View would look like, and then also what the costs associated with that would be. And we've just gotten those figures. And now that I think we've gotten just about everything that we need for the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education to discuss and really make a decision on what's going to happen. I do want to stress, no decision has been made as of today. I don't know where we're going to end up going, but the town had told us in that survey that the preferred option was that consolidated school. And so that's what we've been exploring. And so now that we have the numbers and now that we have the renderings and all that, there will be a special joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Education. And I just got the date for this, so let me look that date up. It's going to be Tuesday, April 23rd at 6:30 p.m. in the Portland High School library. It's also going to be on Zoom, so you can attend as well. And that will be, I know Charles will be there to present the school findings with Friar Architecture, and they're going to go over the numbers and present to the town. And then the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Education, we're going to have to talk and figure out, is this the right move? Is this what we send to referendum? Because ultimately we're going to have to bond.
Yep.
You know, the only thing that everybody knows for sure is that we have to do something with our schools because they are aging and they do need many, many capital improvements.
Yes.
So it's either a consolidation plan or we fix up the schools, but we got to do something. And everyone does recognize that.
Sure.
And so we do have a terrific group. We have a building usage committee that is currently working on, okay, if we were to close Brownstone and we were to close Gildersleeve, what might we be able to do with those properties or those buildings? And honestly, we have a really great group of Portland residents. They have experience in so many fields that are beneficial in this area. So we have an architect, we have a real estate agent, we have construction people. You know, we really run the gamut of everybody on there that can help. And so there's a meeting tonight on that we meet at 6:30 in the Buck Foreman Community Room. So look for that. We have a special guest. We have a builder coming in today who has done the Pratt & Whitney building in Hartford. So he toured Brownstone and Gildersleeve last week and had some really, really great insight. So looking forward to hearing more of his comments this evening.
Nice.
And let's see. So yeah, stay tuned on that. That's a big thing as well. And so I guess I'll transition into our water project. So we're still going, Dave. We got more stuff going on.
A lot happening.
There is. So we continue to work on our water independence and potential expansion project. You may recall we drilled some wells last summer.
Absolutely.
We struck liquid gold.
Yes, we did.
We found water. We found a lot of clean water with a high output, which is all you can ask for.
Yep.
And with that, our engineers, GZA, have completed the preliminary engineering report. So that work has been completed. We now have done a well site suitability study, and we've sent that to DPH, as well as that preliminary engineering report. We've been working with our partners at DPH as far as making sure that we can proceed with this project. The goal, and we're trying to move quickly, the goal is we'd like to be able to drill the actual wells this summer, late August. You know, typically that's when the water table is lowest. I don't know if we'll have a low water table this year, though.
Stay tuned for that.
So we will see, but we're shooting for August. We're looking at funding. So we're looking at all funding options. I know that I'm routinely asking our state, legislators, and we've applied for a number of federal and state grants for water. We've applied for the DW SRF funds as well. So we're really working through all our options, but we're encouraged at where we are right now, and I hope I have more news to report next time for you on that.
Great. Fantastic.
So other things just to touch on, some good news is our sidewalk on Main Street. That project is moving forward. We had received a steep grant to replace our really aged sidewalks on Main Street, and that has gotten approved. I think the Board of Selectmen, we went out to bid. That bid closed last week, and I think we're going to award the contract on Wednesday at our Board of Selectmen meeting. So we're going to be able to replace sidewalks from Arvid Road on Main Street all the way going north, and we're going to be able to go to about 510 Main Street, which is around Goddess Farm,
Okay.
I think. And stay tuned, because we may be able to go further if a couple things work in our favor. But I can guarantee that's where we're going now. Where the plan is to finish Main Street. It would be really nice to have that completed for the walkability of our downtown.
A lot of people walk on that street.
Yep. And so I think that's about it. We have brush cleanup starting Monday, April 22nd. So get your brush out. You can also take that to the transfer station as well.
Yep.
And during that time period, but it's spring, so time to do that household work, I guess, huh?
There you go. And also the Russell Avenue water project is pretty much done. As far as the water main on Russell Avenue.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my
You
gosh.
forgot about that.
I honestly did. I did forget about that because it went so well.
Yes.
To be honest, the Russell water, that was an ARPA-funded project that we were able to get done. And that's brand new pipes. And
yes.
That's an area of town we have a lot of areas in town that have our water lines they're old.
Yes.
And so a lot of them, they break easily. And unfortunately, that costs a lot of time and manpower for our public works department every time that happens.
Yes, it does.
So when we're able to replace these water lines, that's saving the town money in the long run.
Oh, absolutely. And it replaces our deteriorating infrastructure.
Absolutely. And so next time I think I talked about the Nordic Spa last time.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm excited about adjacent to the spa is our brownfields property.
Yep.
That the town of Portland owns, and we've remediated. So stay tuned on that, because we'll be issuing a request for a proposal soon, seeking a developer for that site. So really looking forward to that as well. I'm really encouraged with all the activity from the spa. And now that we have this brand new cleaned site along the Connecticut River,
yes,
I think it's going to be a lot more marketable when we go out to bid.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, not too shabby. Not too shabby. Fantastic.
So, well, thank you, Dave. This is a good update.
I'm great. Because we were supposed to do Charles's interview right before you, and he wanted to postpone a little bit because he had time to crunch the numbers from the Fry engineering firm. So so we're going to be doing his podcast next week. So after he's had time to crunch the numbers and do his display and so forth. So we're stay tuned on that for next week.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode of the Town of Portland podcast with our First Selectman, Mr. Ryan Curley. And it is definitely, the April showers are supposed to bring May flowers. So, hopefully the sun will stay out. We get down, the water goes down, we'll be in good shape. So, Ryan, thanks so much for coming down, and we'll stay tuned for the next podcast.
Great. Thanks, Dave.
All righty. Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Dave Kuzminski. Please tune in every week for new and relevant conversations about the town of Portland. You can find us at portlandct.org or at YouTube/Town of Portland, and now wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you've enjoyed our podcast, please consider subscribing and sharing with friends. This podcast was produced by the Town Tech Educational Partnership Program, which is a partnership between Portland High School and the Portland Town Hall. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or organization, check out towntech.org/podcast to learn more.